The WNBA isn't just growing, it is completely changing. And if you're only paying attention to the draft, then you're missing majority of the story. Welcome to Baseline Full Court Press, the podcast where women's basketball gets the spotlight, the smoke, and the respect. I'm your host, Patience, and today we'll be getting into all the new things that have just occurred in the WNBA, such as the WNBA draft, who picks for clout, and who picked for the fit. Who is winning this WNBA offseason regarding free agency, and does this CBA correctly reflect what the WNBA is worth currently? Now let's go ahead and get into the WNBA draft, what teams picked for fit and what teams picked for clout. I feel like the best fit of the night for the team is going to be Olivia Miles, who was drafted to the Minnesota Lynx. And this is such a good fit for the Minnesota Lynx because the Lynx have been on the verge of winning a championship for a very long time now. They have the players, they have the depth. Maybe what they just need is a true point guard. Like Cheryl Reeves said, they have never really had a true point guard, and that is exactly what Olivia Miles is. That is what she stands for. That is how she plays. She is just a straight up through and through point guard if you've ever seen one. But she will have a great opportunity to learn from the vets on her current team, as well as to learn from Cheryl Reeves, who is a great coach and can get Olivia Miles to play in a calmer kind of setting. And that right there, I think, will be her bread and butter. The next best pick is going to be pick number 4, which is Lauren Betts, and she got drafted to the Washington Mystics. This is a young, driven team. They have Kiki Iriofin, they have Sonia Citron, Georgia A. Moore. They love to throw it down low, and I think Lauren Betts will be a great fit with this team. Also, another really good fit from this year's draft is going to be Flau'jae. Now, she did go ahead and get drafted to the Golden State Valkyries, who then went ahead and traded her over to the Seattle Storm before the draft was even over, which is a little skeptical. Do I think she would have fit in with the Valkyries? Yes, I do. But do I think that the Seattle Storm is a better fit for her? For sure. The Seattle Storm is full of players who play with the same intensity as Flau'jae, and I think that she will do really good bouncing off of their energy, as well as they will do good bouncing off of her energy, and she will just bring a different kind of aspect and a different kind of play to the team. And now I want to get into what WNBA teams picked for clout. My number 1 is going to be Raven Johnson to the Fever. I believe the Fever is very intentional with that draft pick. Is she maybe a good fit defensively? Possibly, and I only say possibly because the Indiana Fever do have a very strong defensive setup, so it's not like they need more role players. What they need is for their defense to go ahead and reflect on their offense. On defense, a lot of times Sophie Cunningham is relied on, but she doesn't produce on the offensive side. Do I feel like drafting Raven Johnson is an attempt to get someone who is better at scoring? No. And not because she's not good at scoring, because Raven Johnson does have a knack for scoring, but where she really thrives at is defense. And do I feel like Indiana needs her for defense? No. I'm not sure if she will make it past the training camp. I really, really hope that she does make it past the training camp. But if not, it is probably all for the best. And honestly, I don't think that is a safe or good fit for Raven Johnson at all. Is it good that she also gets to rejoin her old South Carolina teammate, Aaliyah Boston? Yes, but I also feel like it's still not a good fit, regardless of if she gets to join her friend or not. Another team that picked for clout, in my opinion, is going to be the Dallas Wings with their first round pick, AZ Fudd. Now, I feel like there was a lot of pressure on them to pick AZ Fudd, and she's not a bad pick. Like, let's just start there. She's actually not a bad pick at all. But I do feel like the narrative of her and Paige playing together again also had an effect on the Dallas Wings drafting her, and they knew it would cause a lot of commotion. They knew that they would be able to get a lot of PR, a lot of marketing from AZ Fudd. And I'm not saying that that is the only reason that they drafted her at all, because once again, AZ Fudd is a phenomenal player. But I don't think that she really does fit with the Dallas Wings. I really wish she would have gotten drafted to the Minnesota Lynx, because I think that is a better fit for the way that AZ does play rather than Dallas. They are majority a unorthodox team. Did Paige mesh well with her unorthodox team? Yes. But will AZ? I'm just not sure, because she needs her college game to transfer over, and I don't think that they put her in the best position for that game to translate over to the W. Next, let's get into free agency. And the Chicago Sky winning the free agency offseason was not on my bingo card, to say the least, especially after their last season. The Chicago Sky traded Angel Reese, which everyone thought and we all know is and was a bad idea. But we had no idea how Chicago Sky was coming out of the gate for free agency. They have they have signed Rickea Jackson, they've signed Dejanay Carrington, Skylar freaking Diggins, and JC Shelton. To me, this seems like a big three. And that's not even the full list of who Chicago has acquired during this free agency period. And also, the Toronto Tempo has made some seriously underrated moves this offseason, and that includes signing Marina Mabry from free agency, as well as her sister, Dara Mabry. Now, we have never seen these two play together in the pro level, but I think that this is definitely a underrated move, seeing as they did just draft Kiki Rice as well. And they also picked up Brittany Sykes. Toronto Tempo is in a very good build, and they may be able to make some headway in their first season. But just because these teams did build in the offseason during free agency doesn't mean that the teams that didn't build this season are any less. We do still have dynasties that are afoot, such as the Aces have the Big Three signed back, and they just signed Kennedy Carter, as well as the New York Liberty. New York Liberty also has their Big Three signed back. They also just signed Satu Sabali, which is a great fit for their program. And I'm kind of scared this season. I don't know which way is up. I don't know which way is down, but I'm so excited to tune in. Let's go ahead and jump into the new changes within the CBA. There is a multitude of changes within this new CBA, and we are still waiting for the written document copy to come out as well. So we don't have the actual line by line, but I do want to go over some things that a lot of people didn't go over that helps out the players tremendously. First, I want to start off this by saying that any progress moving forward is great. Any movement forward is great progress. But however, I'm not going to sit here and act like the revenue sharing is where it needs to be. The 20% is great, but it could be better and it needs to be better going forward. So, like I just stated, the gross revenue sharing did go ahead and move up from 5% to 20%. And this has been a big part of why these negotiations were delayed, but they did find common ground on it, and that revenue sharing should be increasing year by year now. What I do want to put eyes on is that this new CBA is prioritizing health and wellness. Previously, all teams were required to employ only one athletic trainer and one team physician. Now, with the new CBA, they are mandated to have two athletic trainers, two team physicians, one strength and conditioning coach, a physical therapist, a massage therapist, and access to a nutritionalist. Now, those may not seem like a big deal to you, but that is a huge deal to players who have not had that luxury afforded to them before, even though they should have. But now that they have it, that is going to help their game so much more. Also, when it comes to practice facilities, the CBA is making sure that all practice facilities are equal, because before, all practice facilities, as we all know, with the Indiana Fevers facility, it is much better than any other WNBA team, and kudos to them for getting that for their athletes. But now the CBA is making sure that all teams are updated. Also, there is now a family first initiative, meaning that players are unable to be traded while they are pregnant. The teams now must have the players' consent to be traded if they are pregnant. And I know that may come as a shock to some of you, because you probably didn't even know that players could get traded while they were pregnant. But yes, they could previously before this new CBA, which was an issue that came down also to a lawsuit with Dearica Hamby and the Las Vegas Aces. If you do want more information on that, let me know down below. I can go ahead and give a whole podcast breakdown on that situation. Another big change that has happened is the roster size guarantee. Before this new CBA, teams were only allotted at maximum 12 players to each roster. Now, 12 players is the mandate, and you can also have up to 2 practice players on your squad, which also opens up a lot of room for the young draftees that most of the time don't make it past training camp, just simply because the roster size is not there. And also, those 2 developmental practice players are able to get paid up to a certain amount, and they are also able to be instated to play for a maximum of 12 games. And this really helps when it comes to WNBA injuries, because injuries a lot of times do hurt their WNBA team, just simply because they don't have anyone to replace, or they don't simply have enough people on on the roster to play. And last but not least, they are being rewarded for their performances. So if they were to get MVP, if they were to get DPOY, anything of that nature, any award, any first team, all of that, they will be compensated for their performance. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Baseline FCP or Baseline Full Court Press. There are full episodes on Spotify. So go ahead and check us out over there on Spotify as well. And don't forget to tune in next week where we'll be going over how is NIL hurting high school athletes in their recruitment process.